Should I go to church? Well, let's start off with a very simple, straightforward answer. The Bible instructs us to go to church on the seventh day of each week. Okay, now let's back up and find out how we come to that conclusion. The Sabbath commandment is found in Exodus 20, verse 8 through 11. Let's read that. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, nor any foreigner residing in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them. But he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. We also find that command in Deuteronomy 5, verse 12 through 14. It's similar, but not the same. Here we read, Observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy, as the Lord your God has commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your ox, your donkey, or any of your animals, nor any foreigner residing in your towns, so that your male and female servants may rest, as you do. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and that the Lord your God brought you out of there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore the Lord your God has commanded you to observe the Sabbath day. Now, with both those statements, we get the same basic command, which is we are not to do any work, but rather we are to rest on the seventh day. We're asked to focus on different spiritual truths, one being brought out of slavery, the other, God is creator, but we're told not to do any work, but rather we are to rest on the seventh day. Now, in addition to being a day of rest from our regular work, the seventh day is also a day we are commanded to gather together for a holy convocation. That's in Leviticus 23, verse 3. Let's go there. Leviticus 23, verse 3. There are 6 days when you may work, but the seventh day is a day of Sabbath rest, a day of sacred assembly, or if you're reading the King James, you would read a holy convocation. You are to not do any work. Wherever you live, it is a Sabbath to the Lord. Now, the phrase holy convocation, if you're reading in the, I think it's the ESV or the King James, well, that's really just an old-fashioned way of saying public assembly for godly purpose, just as you would get from sacred assembly. In other words, it's a day to go to church. Now, in the New Testament, the word church, which we find in English translations, it's an English word, church is the English translation of a Greek word, which is ecclesia, which means public assembly. So to fully keep the fourth commandment, we are expected to set aside our day-to-day labors and go to church on the seventh day of each week. It's a time set aside for us to worship, to receive instruction, and fellowship in a community setting. The Sabbath was created for the benefit of human beings who need both physical rest and spiritual focus on a regular basis. Let's take a look at Mark 2, verse 27 through 28. Then he, that's Jesus, said to them, The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. The idea that Jesus wants us to get with regard to the Sabbath is that it is a day created for our benefit. And yes, it gives us physical rest, but it also gives us that spiritual focus. So gathering together on the seventh day in this way was the practice of Jesus. It was the practice of the apostles. It was the practice of Paul. And it still remains for the church established by Jesus Christ. Take a look at Hebrews 4, verse 9. Hebrews 4, verse 9 says, "There remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God." Now let's go to Hebrews 10, verse 25. "Do not give up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing." Let's back up and read verse 24, which starts off by saying, "And let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching." Now, if you'd like to learn more about the seventh-day Sabbath as found in the Bible, you should request our free Bible study guide, and I'm going to put a link to that in the video description below. It's a free Bible study guide. Click on the link and it'll take you to a page where you can request a free copy. The title of the book is Sunset to Sunset, God's Sabbath Rest. So again, our question was, when should I go to church? Well, the Bible instructs us to go to church on the seventh day of each week. You might also want to find a Sabbath-keeping congregation near you. So I've put a link that can help you find a congregation of the United Church of God near you in the video description below.